My spiritual journey, I think, sort of started early as a kid. I mean, the way I was raised was in Christian church. So I was involved in religion from a young age, and I went to a private Christian school for 10 years. And so I did church 5, 6, 7 times a week, and also on the weekends. And and so private school lasted until 8th grade, and then I moved to a public school in 9th grade. And being that sort of like the constraints were sort of taken away, I really wandered out into what Christians would call like the secularism of the world, right? And really just got very curious and started experimenting with, sports and friends, going out and, doing things on the weekend. And eventually it was with girls, and which was also a very important thing for me because I felt like growing up, I was sort of kept away from girls in general. So being able to associate with them, I was stoked,
Yeah.
so like it was just a lot of stimulation all at once, going from the same 30 kids for 8 years or 10 years. Literally, like my best friend was in the same class as me for 10 years. And then I left Oxnard to Camarillo in 9th grade and met all new people, a school filled with like 3,000 people in Camarillo. And so it was just a lot of new stuff at once. And I was just like crazy about it. So I got involved in, eventually got into drinking and partying, and started getting into trouble with the law. And that lasted a few years, and I really like took it far. I took it very far. I started going to jail, getting in trouble, and eventually got hooked onto like substances, like like pills and sort of like drugs that you can smoke, and never used needles, but I basically did anything else that I could to like get it into me, and eventually ended up in a rehabilitation center. And so like I think I turned my life around around 25 years old, and just sort of like began a spiritual journey of practicing like helping other people, thinking about other people. First I had to like get rid of all of the stuff that I had accumulated mentally, spiritually throughout this like 7, 8 years that I had wandered around like the prodigal son. Once I returned, I was filled with like darkness and resentment and all of these sort of like all this baggage. So first I had to shed that and sort of like look internally and accept sort of like where I had gotten to, because that was something I wasn't really interested in doing. But once I was able to do that, and I was then able to turn myself outward to another person, and now I feel like I've just been working that side of things little by little. Like some days are easier than others, but I do try to treat each person I meet with like love and respect. And some days are easier than others. But yeah, that's like, I guess, a summary of where I'm at today.